Hi everyone, Chris here from IELTSadvantage.com with a really simple strategy for people doing the general training writing task 1 paper. So if you're doing the academic paper, this video isn't for you. Go and check out our other videos for academic task 1. I'll link it below this video. But if you're doing general training, I think that you are really lucky, because the academic guys, they have to interpret maps or processes or pie charts or tables or line graphs, all of those things that most people aren't really familiar with. But luckily for you guys, all you have to do for task 1 is write a letter. So most people are familiar with writing letters. You probably write emails every single day. So this strategy, I've taught it to hundreds of students, maybe even thousands of students, and it really helps students get it done in 20 minutes, and then they can move on to writing task 2. Right, so first thing is just a little bit of information about what to expect. So if you're not sure about what you're going to get on the general training task 1 paper, just Google it, have a look, and you're going to be getting basically this format. Background information, so they'll give you some information about what is happening and who they want you to write to and the situation that you're in. And then it will ask you to write about 3 different bullet points. So bullet point number 1, bullet point number 2, and bullet point number 3. All right, so background information and then 3 bullet points. And this is really important because it's going to help us write the letter. And so being familiar with that structure and that information that they're going to give you is really important. Alright, so the first thing you need to do, step 1, really important for both task 1 and task 2, take some time to understand the question. So I've known a huge number of students who, and this is totally, acceptable or forgivable in the test because you're under a lot of pressure. People just want to start writing immediately. It is a bad idea to just, put your pen to paper immediately. Take the time to read and understand the question. 30 seconds, 1 minute, just to read and understand what you're doing. Because it doesn't matter how good your grammar is, or how good your vocabulary is, or how good your writing skills are. If you don't understand the question, you're not going to be giving the examiners what they want. All right, so take a minute or so to understand the question. What are they asking you to do? The second thing is decide if it is formal or informal. Tone is really important when writing letters for task 1 general training. And a really easy way to establish that is just friend. Are you writing to a friend? It will say that. It'll say write to your friend, and it will say the word friend. If it says the word friend, it is informal. All right, really easy. To anybody else, it is formal. Now, lots of you right now are having all sorts of questions like, what if it says to write to my neighbor and I'm friendly with my neighbor? Or what if it says to write to a colleague and I know my colleague, or I'm friendly with them? Or what if it says to write to a shop in my local town and I know that person? Don't worry about any of that, all right? You're not asking you to write about real life, all right? Just put that to the back of your mind. Keep it simple. If it asks you to write to a friend, that's informal, use informal language. If it asks you to write to anybody else, formal. And again, don't be worrying about semi-formal or, 3/4 formal or anything like that. Friend, informal. Anybody else, formal. Don't worry, that will serve you really well. And it takes 1 second to establish that, and then you don't have to worry about it. Okay, so the third thing you need to do is you need to plan. So really important that you plan, just like understanding the question. Investing a little bit of time planning and thinking about your answer is really going to serve you well in the test. So the first thing we need to do is we need to use this structure of the question that they're going to give us, because this is going to help us structure our answer and plan out our answer. Okay, so the background information is going to be our first paragraph. So paragraph 1. Okay, and this is purpose. All right, so you're stating in the very first paragraph the purpose of the letter. So it'll be dear whoever, and this is the reason why you're writing to them. So you're stating the purpose, and the background information in the question is going to give you all that information. All right, bullet point number 1 becomes paragraph number 2. Bullet point number 2 becomes paragraph number 3. And bullet point number 3 becomes paragraph 4. So really, really simple, okay? So paragraph 1 is your purpose, paragraph 2 is your first bullet point, paragraph 3 your second bullet point, and paragraph 4 your third bullet point. If you're unsure of what that means, go and look at a real sample question. I'll link it below the video. I'll give you a link where you can see a real question, and that will help you out. So what you can do is you can use the question to structure out your answer. So you've done this bit, and now you just add ideas, okay? So you just add your ideas in here, your ideas in here, and your ideas in here. They don't need to be sophisticated or high-level ideas or the most amazing thing in the world. All they need to be is relevant to the bullet point. So whatever that bullet point tells you to do, write about that. Don't write about other things. So if they tell you to write about, I don't know, tell your friend, bullet point number 1, what you did last weekend. Don't start telling them about something other than what you did at the weekend. Just stick to that. And then you move on to bullet point number 2 and do the same for that. Make sure what you're writing is relevant to the bullet point. That's really, really important. Don't start writing about lots of other things, and do not memorize sentences and paragraphs and think that you can insert them into your answer. The examiners will be aware of that, and you'll probably fail if you do that. So don't do that. And it's really, really easy. Your ideas just need to be simple, straightforward. Like task 2, the simple, straightforward, obvious ideas are the best ideas. Don't try and overcomplicate it. Okay, so now that you have planned out your answer, you've got your ideas, you've got your structure here, now you can start to write. So number 4, make sure you write a clear purpose. Okay, it's really, really important that the examiner can look at the first paragraph and understand what the letter is about. Do not assume that because it's a test situation and the examiner, has the question in front of them, that they know what you're talking about. Make sure you state that really, really clearly in the first paragraph. So, dear whoever, your friend or whoever it tells you to write to, and then start your paragraph with a clear purpose. So I'm writing to let you know, or writing to do this, whatever. And then skip a line and start paragraph number 2. For these 3 paragraphs, so these 3 paragraphs that relate to each bullet point, write around 50 words. Now do not count the words. I underline the word around. When I tell students this, they get a bit obsessed and they think that they have to write exactly 50 words. If you write 42 words, if you write 55 words, that's grand. But just around 50 words, and get to know what 50 words of your handwriting looks like. Then you won't have to count individually. Do not waste time counting words, but get used to what, around 50 words, probably 2 or 3 sentences, something like that. For some people it'll be 2 sentences, some people it'll be 4 sentences, whatever works for you. And make sure you're writing around 50 words. That will do 2 things. It will make sure that you are over the 150 word limit, and it will also mean that you're really developing these main points properly. Okay, get used to doing that. Number 6, focus on writing a clear message. Now, grammar and vocabulary are 50% of your overall mark. But the purpose of writing is to send a clear message. The purpose of writing is not to show how many grammar structures you know or how many big words you know. Focus on clearly conveying a message to the person that's reading your letter, the examiner, and make sure everything is nice and clear and easy to understand. If you do that, everything else will take care of itself. Now, I'm not saying to use really, really simple language, really simple words and simple grammar structures, but don't go in thinking vocabulary grammar first. Go in thinking writing a clear message, writing a clear letter first, and that is really, really going to help you. Because the examiner, what they want to be doing is, or what you want the examiner to be doing is, looking at your letter and being able to read it 1 time, 2 times, and understand everything that is going on, and he or she can see that you have, your purpose is clear and your bullet points are all covered and everything is nice and easy to understand. Number 7, once you've done all that, once you've finished writing and you've signed off and did all those things and put your name at the bottom, check, alright? Make sure you spend 2 or 3 minutes checking. Everybody makes mistakes. Every single person in the world makes mistakes with grammar, vocabulary, spelling, all of these things. Make sure you're spending time checking it. Alright, so when you're practicing, make sure that this planning stage and the checking stage, you're doing that when you're practicing, so that in the real test you're not doing that for the first time. You want to be doing everything in 20 minutes. So check your grammar, check your vocabulary, check your tone. So if it's informal, you're using informal language, things like contractions. If you're using formal language, or if it's a formal tone, did you use formal language? Make sure that the tone is consistent throughout the whole response. And relevancy. So is your purpose, is it the same as the purpose in the question? And are your ideas, the things you're writing about, relevant to the bullet points? And when you've done that, just move on. Alright, don't spend more than 20 minutes on this. Writing task 2 is worth 2/3. This one, task 1, is worth 1/3, which is very, very significant. But don't spend more than 20 minutes on it. Just move on and get on to your task 2. So, that is the most straightforward, simple strategy that I know for IELTS writing task 1 general training. Hope that you find it useful. And if you want any more help, just go to IELTSadvantage.com. We've got help for both general training, writing and academic writing there. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. There's more videos coming up. And if you're on Facebook, feel free to give us a like or a share or whatever you want to do. Thank you very much, guys. See you again soon. Bye-bye.